those few remarks indeed can easily show you actually a man. You can actually draw an inception that a man is a finance expert in that field, and we have so many young accountants here who can draw an example or who can draw what to do from Coach Samuel's profile. Ladies and gentlemen, Samuel even has over a decade of experience in the field of finance, and currently he's serving as a manager in international development advisory at KPMG East Africa. Prior to this, he held impactful roles, including the country partnership finance lead and finance manager at Save the Children International, where he managed finance teams and oversaw an annual budget of over 15 million US dollars. He also worked with Alliance One International and Vodafone Uganda, where he played a key role in tax management and implementing robust financial systems such as the SAP. Samuel's expertise spans consultancy, capacity building, and project management. He has spearheaded major projects with organizations such as Total Uganda, National Water and Sewage Corporation, Barclays Bank Uganda, and Bristol University under the African Development Bank's HEST project. Beyond corporate leadership, he is passionate about education and mentorship. And indeed, this one doesn't require actually a lot of evidence because we are actually seeing, and I'm one of the products of Samuel's mentorship. And indeed, I'm benefiting a lot from actually him. His exceptional work has earned him multiple recognitions, including a nomination in the New Vision 40 Under 40 Awards, that is in 2021, the Social Impact Award from Best Africa, that is in 2021 still, and being voted Best Male Employee at Save the Children Eastern Region. Outside these professional endeavors, Samuel continues to inspire and empower individuals to become the best versions of themselves through mentorship and coaching. Samuel is the founder of the Transformation Professionals Club, as I told you, and he has impacted us a lot. And this one actually tries to explain Samuel's passion in mentorship and education in young people. I have a lot of evidence actually for Samuel because I've always consulted Samuel in so many aspects, especially after campus here. Things have actually been a bit tough in so many aspects. So Samuel has always guided me in so many things to do. And actually, I don't regret. So this month has been a month of great success. And I can easily give a testimony to the Transformation Professionals Club through the different mentorships. They've always prepared me to stand out in speech, how to handle different interviews. And this month, actually, I received my first offer ever since I left campus. And this has not actually been my effort. It has been an effort of different mentors whom I've been finding in the Transformational Professionals Club, who have been guiding me throughout each and every step to go in. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Coach Samuel Ibanda, for some little introductions, and then we dive into today's topic. Samuel, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen, for the introductions, and welcome everyone who has joined this call. I see quite a lot of people that have joined in here, and I know that many will be joining us. We also have quite a number of people that are joining us on YouTube. This is just to say thank you so much that you follow our conversations every day. So as Stephen, you've introduced mostly what I need to be saying, but all to just say that beyond work, what gives me inspiration and motivation is the fact that I'm here to impact and empower others. So that is what pushes me. I'm also a parent, I'm a father, a husband, quite a lot. Some of the things that even as we discuss, we'll be able to understand that they are quite important as well, just as our career journeys. So he's mentioned quite a lot, but I'm also very glad that today, as the Transformation Professionals Club, again, we are meeting so that we can be able to discuss. So kudos to everyone who has created time to be part of this. And I really look forward to an insightful session and conversation as we see what we can basically do within the last days of this. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for that brief introduction. Our topic today actually is a little bit very insightful. How can we actually close 2025 when we are actually strong? How can we finish this year when we are achieving? And how can we position ourselves for 2026? So as we hear the topic, Samuel, I would like you to share your little experience. Sorry for using the word little, actually, your great experience and the insights on this topic. So could you try to draw some insights and elaborate more? How could you actually inspire someone? How can you actually change someone's mindset for as far as this topic is concerned?
Okay, thank you so much, Stephen. And you ask a very important question even as we start this conversation. Now, I just want to draw back to why I'm one of those that have championing this whole message of career growth. We live in an era where there are quite a lot that is happening, quite a number of people that are going to school and getting out of university. Either they find a job or they don't find a job. The entire system is in a way that people are now giving up in terms of their journeys because they think this whole thing of career growth does not work. There are no organizations that are offering jobs. There are no organizations that are able to promote people to the levels that where they need to get to. And why I usually call it career growth is not from the perspective that you're going to move positions, but I take it from the notion that in everything that you do, you need to be growing. Why? Because you have a single life as an individual. And what this means for you is that today you are alive, tomorrow you're not here. Now, being in your career is just like the way you are in school. We have a limited number within our career, a number of years that we can really go. Most of us start maybe around 23 years or 24 or 25 or even 20. Some people start a little early. But by the time you come to 45, 50, you're actually at the epitome of your career. Now, one of the things that I've really come to appreciate is that there are people who go through this phase of career, 20 years of their careers, and how they join the organization is how they are living. And that is in terms of their position, in terms of their income, and in terms of even their mindset and skills. What you would assume that maybe the 20 years journey would be a transformation journey for them. For them, it's about showing up, doing what I'm supposed to do, and waiting for the next day. Now, I live by a mantra that says, if I'm in a workplace, I need to be growing every day. And again, growth is not moving positions. It's not just about moving positions. And that is where some people find it wrong. Because whenever you speak about career growth, they think about their boss who is not willing to leave the position. So career growth is very important, that when you get to understand that it's not about just moving positions, but I need to be able to grow as an individual, then in one or the other, your mind is transformed. And I also live with the notion that it's not a responsibility of your employer to grow your career. It is your responsibility 100%. And when you take charge of that and focus on yourself, focus on improving yourself, means that you're going to attract the necessary growth. That even when you look at 5 years from now, when you look at the journey you've moved, you come to appreciate that this has been because of the efforts I've gone through. And I just want to draw back to my personal story. I've worked for 10 years now, maybe coming to 11 years. Quite, some people may call it a long period of time, like my brother, Makande, who is just starting out in their career. To somebody who's been in their career for over 20 years, this is a very short time. But I'll tell you that the 10 years, 11 years journey has been a transformative journey for me. I started out in consulting, moved into agriculture, moved into telecom, moved into NGO, and now went back to consulting. Now, if I told you how I started, there was an element of less hope of where I would get to. I didn't know that I would actually get here. But one of the things that remains constant in my journey is the aspect of continuous improvement and always seeking out to see how can I get better to attract better opportunities. One of the other things that I've also been able to do is to understand what is the kind of career direction I want to take. And yes, I've not been to the future before, but there are quite a number of people that have been to the future that I can look up to, and I'll say, this is the person that I want to be. There's also that personal reflection and thinking about what you really want to achieve out of life. And you then get back to, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And I'll tell you that all that journey for me has also come with a lot of challenges, because we do not live in a vacuum. We live in a country where there are challenges, like any other country. I've not had any country, even the US has challenges. I've worked with employers where there are challenges, where promotions are not obvious. Recruitments are for those that are known to certain people. I've worked in places where you even wonder what kind of environment it is. But being able to understand that the environment where you are is not a limitation, is not a cap to whatever you can do with your life. I think for me, that has been what has really transformed my journey. So if you're listening to me right now, one of the things that I want to tell you today is that take charge of your career. And taking charge of your career is understanding, where are you now? Where are you in your career? What aspirations do you have? What does 10 years, 20 years look for you? Picture and see, what do you want to achieve? And this is irrespective of your employer. This is irrespective of your family background, because most of the times we limit ourselves to what our siblings have been able to achieve or what our parents have been able to achieve. I know quite a lot of us here may not really get to understand my background. My background right now is not relevant to this conversation. What is relevant to this conversation is me as an individual who is in the driver's seat of my career. You who is either an administrative assistant, who is an accountant, who is an auditor, right now you should be looking to see, what do I want my career to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Why this message is very important, even now that we're looking at the end of the year, you need to also bring it down to see, what do I want at the end of this year? Or what do I want in the next year? There are quite a lot of aspirations that you started with this year, and maybe you've been able to achieve. Congratulations. For some, you've not been able to achieve for one reason or the other. But what we are saying is remain visionary, remain focused on what you want to achieve. Just like an athlete who is running on a runway and falls down, but because they understand the vision, because they understand where they are going, they'll pick up themselves and run. It's not about whoever is running ahead of you. It's about your journey, because you are in charge and you're in control of what you should be doing. Now, we live in a workplaces where there are a lot of forces that we are trying, but understanding that you are in charge of who you want to be, making sure that I'm going to go for that course, even when my boss feels I should not go for it. For me, it's very important for me. You should not build your career just around an organization. You need to be now looking broadly to see what is in the world, what is in demand, what is the world interested in. You need to get down to understand, if I'm in the role today, I'm a manager, what does the next role require of me? I live also by the mantra that I should be growing either within the organization, or I should be growing as a person who can attract opportunities outside the organization. But in one way, I should be growing. And this solves even the perspective that you're in a position where your boss is not planning to leave. When you get to that understanding that you're not just limited by the organization where you are, there are opportunities outside there. There's somebody who is looking for somebody like you, or is looking for your skills. So having that perspective that I'm not just limited by this environment. Having the perception that I'm also not just limited by what I studied. I think for quite a lot of people, because you studied a course and you start to limit yourself that you can't. For example, we have now a growing AI conversation, a lot of technology, quite a lot of people are moving to technology. Even if you did accounting, you can actually get into fintech. There are quite a lot of courses that you can take, short, either even long courses that you can be able to take on that can equip you as an individual to be able to stand out. We live in an era where it's not just now about your employer, but understanding that you're more like a service provider. There are quite a lot of customers that can take on your service, either as an employee or even as a consultant. Myself, I work as a consultant. And what this means for me as a consultant means that I'm not just limited to one client. I need to be able to think broader and say, how can I attract another client B? What is their need? What they need to solve? So all that is quite important. So what I can say in a nutshell is right now, reflect, how has the journey moved? 7 months, 8 months, 9 months. And what can you accomplish within the next 3 months? As well as trying to see what can you plan for within these months. I'll tell you, I've just enrolled for a course. I actually started 2 days back. And within this year, I need to be doing 2 exams of that course. So what that means is that even if I've started this in the last months of the year, I need to have a milestone of what I want to achieve. There are quite a lot of things that are happening right now. And I already mentioned in one of my posts that right now is a very good time for organizations to hire. Why? Because organizations usually have what you call annual calendars. So right now is a time for them to reflect and look at the employees and see what kind of skills or gaps do we have that we need to fill? What positions do we need to fill? Such that when they start the process right now, a candidate has a chance to be recruited within maybe a month, and they have a time to be able to serve notice wherever they are. And by the start of the year, or even in February, the employee is actually resuming. So what that means for you as somebody who is looking for a job is to see, how can I position myself right now? How am I revamping either my CV or my LinkedIn such that those opportunities actually come after me? Or if I'm internally within the organization, how can I start the conversation right now to show my bosses that there has been value that I've created for the last months? Because if you're not doing it, if you're not blowing your trumpet, everyone is busy. We live in a noisy environment. And by noisy, I mean everyone is chasing for the next thing. It's until you stop someone and be like, oh, Stephen, I actually want to have a chat with you. This is how I've been able to perform. This is what I've been able to achieve in this year. One of my aspirations was to do ABCD this year, and I've been able to achieve substantially this. Next year, I want to move to the next thing. I need to have more opportunities to be able to deploy my skills in a better way. You see, you're starting a conversation that should be putting you into the next role. And all this is quite important at a time like this, because you already have 9 months that you've covered. And if you already have achievements that you've put down, this should be substantial for you to start a conversation. And that is why it's quite important for you not to just let the wind direct your journey, but understanding that your journey, you are the captain. You are the one who is going to give the direction to your career. Over to you, Stephen.
Thank you so much, Coach, for that insightful snapshot. For as far as our topic today is concerned, indeed, I think each and every one there, you are trying to learn something from what Coach Samuel has actually noted there. One of the captivating insights which he has talked about is just that take charge of your career. You are the driver in each and everything. That actually has sounded so much when you've been speaking in that. And also, there is a relevant one that your background, maybe if you're from somewhere in the village somewhere, your background somewhere cannot be actually relevant to what we are trying to achieve now. I've also actually noted it somewhere here. Remain visionary and focused on what you want to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, if you have some good questions, actually try to actually type in the chat box such that we can actually have an insightful session. For as far as this one is concerned, we shall have a Q&A somehow, such that we can easily actually tackle some of the questions. Coach, we've seen so many professionals. I want us to actually look at this, because you've talked about the challenges when we are trying to achieve some of these things around here. Remember, life doesn't always go as planned. There are deadlines, setbacks, and even failures normally come our way. Remember, we've actually moved throughout all the 3 quarters. How can professionals actually bounce back quickly and still make the last quarter count? That's actually a great question which we need actually to focus on. How can someone who has faced a lot of challenges previously in the previous quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, so we are going in for quarter 4. So how can someone bounce back quickly and still make this last quarter count and actually position himself for 2026? Look at the challenges, and then how can you actually give some good motivation to such a person who has a lot of challenges? Maybe it can be in businesses. So many people, we have young professionals who have actually looked for greener pastures in their professions. So how can someone actually try to position himself such that he can feel some sort of success to end this year strong? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen, for that. And I want to draw back to what I've just mentioned, that whatever has happened in the last months has happened, but is not a limitation of what you can be able to achieve in the last months of the year. And this also comes from the perspective that before you change your trajectory, before you change your career, it has to start from inside you. Being able to believe and understand that you can achieve whatever you're aspiring to achieve. Now, I want you to look at the 3 months not as a cap in terms of your career trajectory. Reason why we call ourselves the Transformation Professionals Club is every day you're transforming, and whatever you're planting right now will actually manifest into a seed, either 3 months or 4 months or whatever. So I want you not to focus yourself, and this is where some professionals get it wrong. You have your annual year's resolution, and because you've reached around September and you've not been able to achieve those, then you find yourself in circumstances where you think that you're out of time. Now, right now is a time for you to see, like I indicated, what can I do? What has been my journey? What are some of those things that I've done that might have missed my journey? And this is picking lessons from our previous journey. And this could be the last months, or even could be the last years. It could be that from the time you left school, you've not added any, let's say, any training or any skill. And that's now a lesson for you to be able to see, in these last 3 months, can I focus and at least either enroll for a course, even if it's a master's or another bachelor's, or even a short course that you pick up and say, at least within the last 3 months, I need to have accomplished this paper, or accomplished this course, or accomplished the registration process that is going to get me into a qualification that I'm going to start studying for the next year. And this should not just be something that you just sit and think about. I usually say, get that notebook, get in a reflective environment where you're now trying to see, what has been my journey? What have I been able to achieve? And you see, again, even before you really aspire for the great things that are really ahead of you, gratitude is very important, because gratitude is going to fuel your energy for the last 3 months. Being able to look at what have been those wins. Sometimes when we look at our trajectory, we focus on what we've mostly not achieved. But this is a time for you to also look at what have you been able to achieve, however small it might be. Because this has been your journey. You can't say within the 9 months, or you've not achieved anything. And even as you do this reflection, if, for example, you employed like myself, you're looking at yourself holistically, saying, in my job, what have I been able to achieve? What is that I've been able to do that if I go into an annual reflection with my manager, either it is structured or not structured, I have things that I've been able to accomplish. It could be that you have improved in your report writing. It could be that you've improved in the timeliness of your deliverables. It could be that you've improved in your stakeholders management. It could be that you've improved in the way you use a certain system, which was not the case when you're starting. All these things are very important. Reflection is quite important. And you're doing this with your notebook, writing down some of these things. Because when you go into this moment of reflection with no distractions, you try to reflect about your life, to appreciate how has been the journey. Because you don't just want to say all this has gone to waste. There's a lot of activity that you've done, and you're now getting down to appreciate, what have I been able to accomplish? What are some of those things that have fallen short, and what could have been the reasons why I've fallen short of these things? In terms of skills, you're also trying to see, what are some of the skills that might have held me back, or habits that have held me back. maybe you don't know how to manage your time very well. You have a lot of distractions. It could be social media, or you get into things that are not relevant, or you're not intentionally scheduling your personal development. All these things are quite a lot, but even as you look at where you've fallen short, what we're saying is pick up the lessons, because you're not going to carry the regrets into the next year, and the regrets are not going to help you in one way or the other. And you're like, I wish I did ABCD. The I wish mentality is not going to help you, because you still have time. You have the last 3 months that you can strategize for. We already have a half that is also remaining. So you have 3.5 that you can strategize for. But we're also saying that, how about you use these last months to also strategize and get yourself, and you say, okay, I've not done a lot in 2025, but I can strategically position myself such that when the year starts, everything is put up. I'll tell you, I'll give you an example, and you mentioned it early on when you say that, is this not too early for us to start thinking about how to finish strong? I'll tell you that organizations start their strategic planning process as early as June. By July, they already have a picture of what they're going to do in the next year. So what that means is that you too need to start this process early. Most of the people wait for January, wait for December to start writing down their New Year's resolution. That's when they start to put even the plans for the year. I have quite a lot of trainings that I'll be engaged in the next year. And some of the invitations, I've actually received invitations for 2026. And that makes you really appreciate that as you looking at September, October, November, December, people have now started to look at 2026. Other people have even started scheduling events for 2027. Because if you schedule something, and this is one thing that I've come to appreciate, Stephen, if you get something down to the schedule, and that is why planning is very important. Yes, we can plan and things do not work out, but there's nothing that is so suicidal than moving without a plan, without knowing that this is the kind of the election that I want to take. And that's why right now you need to be thinking and say, 2026, I look at these 12 months and I don't want them to go to waste anymore. This is what I want to achieve. In January, I need to be doing ABC. In February, I need to be enrolling to this. In the next month, if I need to join a mentorship program, or I need to join a coaching, or this is what I need to be doing. Right? You should be looking at, what books do I want to read? What is my reading list that I want to be looking at? All this is important. So that's why I'm saying, for these last 3 months, focus to see, what can I accomplish and what can I set pace for the next year, such that as people are trying to plan their year, January, for you already on the line, you're already driving your journey. People are seeing you coming out strongly. I usually use this period of the year. I think that is around when we have the Christmas break. That's a time when, because I'm a content creator and there are quite a lot of people who have taken holidays, so there's a lot of traffic that is happening. That's the time when I'm engaging people. I'm telling them, this is what we have in there. If you realize, we launched the Transformation Professionals Club on 14th December. And before you knew it, starting January, we were moving very fast. We had a lot of programs laid up. By March, we're having a first event. Now, all that did not just happen out of luck. All that came through because there was planning of what we wanted the year to look like. So the same thing for your career as well. Right now, you need to be looking to see, what is my journey looking like? What are some of those things have now come to appreciate? Quite a lot of you have books that you've bought that you've not read. You have courses that you've signed up, you've not done. You have a lot of things that is going on. But I'll tell you that unless it is planned, it's going to be like any other year. 2026 is going to come and things are going to look the same. And that is why you see, whenever we usually get to March or April, people are like, nothing has changed. There is no job. The income has remained the same. but being able to know that I'm in charge of my journey. If my employer is not able to add me an extra income, I need to be creating another alternative income. Either I'm offering my services as a consultant, or I'm going to develop a passion that I can actually do with my time. If I told you, looking at yourself from the perspective of, let's say, you have certain skills that you want to develop, this could be a good time to see, where can I learn the skills? Who can actually help me get the skills? Am I going to go for a formal process where I'm going to enroll to an institution? Am I going to look for this maybe on YouTube and just develop? Do I need certain gadget or equipment that I need to be able to develop? If at all, let's say, I want to look for a job in the last 3 months, and I just want to share something. If I was looking for a job in these last 3 months, this is what I would be doing. One, I would understand how the recruitment space has actually changed. And this is very important, friends. There are a lot of people who are looking for jobs, which jobs are very minimal. So what this means is that the employers have a large pool of people that they can tap into in terms of recruitment. So whoever is actually going to get the job is the one who is going to stand out. And even those that are in business, customers also now have a lot of knowledge of the available options out there. So right now, if I'm looking at finding a job, I need to first work around my visibility to see, how am I showing up? Am I going to my LinkedIn, go and take either a photo shoot and make sure that I have a very good profile photo, get in there, revamp my profile, and start putting out content, connecting with people, either commenting or being part of communities like TPC. Get yourself in there. We live in an era where it's not about chasing, it's about attracting. Now your mindset should be around, how do I attract the employer? How do I get into their face? LinkedIn is a very good example. Right now, you could get down to your CV and see, maybe it's the CV that has been limiting my journey. What can I really do to improve this CV? And sometimes improving the CV is not just about the font size, the font color, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's a certain skill that you're lacking. And you're like, can I actually start on this skill or course such that even if I'm just putting it within my CV as progress, or as something that you already enrolled to, that this is something that could actually give you an edge over other people? This could also be a time for you to actually reach out, step out and say, I have all these people within my network. How about I now start showing them what I can do? You see, most of the times I'm going to reach out to Stephen and say, Stephen, I'm looking for a job. That's the first conversation that you are putting out to somebody. How about you start from whatever you have in terms of the skills, whatever you can do? And sometimes it's not about even reaching out direct to them, but you're using medium, a kind of modes that you think they can be able to see you. Because I'll tell you, if I'm looking for an accounting job and I go and look at what will a typical organization require in terms of an accountant, I can look even the job description and I say, these are the different roles and responsibilities that are needed for such a job. And I'm going now to create content for each of those roles. And I'll say I'm going to do this weekly, or I'm going to do this twice a week. I'm going to my profile and say internal controls. I'm going to post about maybe risk management. I'm going to post all about all these things. Now, even if somebody's not going to give an opportunity that time, but what you're trying to do is you're improving your visibility in terms of how people are now going to start perceiving you. When somebody sees you, or they see your profile or whatever, they're going to see you as an accountant, as that person who is skilled, who is knowledgeable. So it's quite important to see, how do I leverage this period to improve my visibility, even if it's internally. within the organization. Sometimes what is limiting your visibility, I'll give you an example again. I love relating to my journey. One of the things that I usually do is every time I'm in an organization, I'm always asking myself, who is in charge? Who is in control? Who has the influence for my next move within the organization? Is it about building key relationships, having conversations with them, seeking their mentorship, understanding where they need support? Sometimes it's about reaching out and seeing what is the pain point of this person? Who is the decision maker of my role? What is that initiative? How can I support them? Sometimes it's about you putting in the extra hours to position yourself. I'll give you an example. There's a time I was in an organization and I realized the person who should be making a decision about my promotion was not seeing my work because I had a boss that I was reporting to, and this is the boss who was shining. So one time, I booked an appointment with this person, get into their office. We had a conversation. I shared about my skills. I shared about what I had qualified in, what I can do. I also shared about my achievements. Then I told them I'm actually open to now bigger opportunities within the organization. I would like to learn more. I would like to have an opportunity to be able to acquire more skills in these areas. Now, what this helped me is that I didn't enter this room to ask for a salary increment or to ask for a promotion. But because I came to share about my skills, my competences, and I also put my foot forward to share with them what I aspire, what are some of the things I want to do to be involved in aspects of budgeting, reporting that the department was already doing. This person looked at me as somebody who is outward thinking, but also somebody who has the aspiration for learning. They did look at me from the person who is desperate for an increment, whatever. And I'll tell you that from after that time, I was given the opportunity to tap into some of those areas that I was looking at. So your visibility might be showing up in the faces of those that are going to help you. It may not be in others and not somebody's superior. It could be your direct manager, getting them down for them to know what exactly you need, what key areas you need to grow. And again, I told you that sometimes it's not about working towards taking your boss's job. Sometimes it's about being in there to say, okay, I see you're so to learn and support you. So you're coming with a supporting hand. In the process, you're learning. I tell people the best way to position yourself for the next role is to make sure that you're learning as much as you can from your boss. And you're not learning from the perspective that you're going to take up their role, but you're learning from the perspective that you're there to support. You're there to offer more value. In the process, you also grow. You're not putting them on pressure that you want to be promoted to the next position, but you're just telling them. And that's why you find that a boss will leave an organization and they will do all they can to make sure that they recommend you as their replacement. Why? Because they are comfortable and they understand that even if they are not around, you can actually do it. You can perform. So, friends, there's a lot that we can do, but I want you to look at this journey for the next 3 months, not to be an end in itself, but it could be a stronger beginning for something that is greater to what you can achieve. Over to you, Stephen. Yes, Stephen. Thanks for the comments. Hassan, anything planned is halfway done. I like the concept of the domain knowledge inherently shared by our superiors. Okay. And I want to appreciate everyone who is here that is following the conversation. I think my friend Steven has a challenge But this is something that we need to continue to reflect on. And I want to just say that when you have a transformative mindset, where you're looking at yourself as somebody who is every day, who is looking at aspects of growth, means that your value will continuously grow. And when your value continuously grow, means that even the outside world, it starts to see something different in you. And they're like, oh, Samuel has changed. You're so knowledgeable. Every time you're in an organization, one of the things that I've come to appreciate is do not just be somebody who is part of the ladies and gentlemen. Pick up something that you can run with, where you are known for that thing, where they are going to say, if you need ABCD, Samuel will actually help you with that. This could be even within your normal work, where people are now speaking about you in rooms where you're not. And that's where your personal branding is coming in. Because we are in an alien age where your personal branding is your key strongest asset. Because if no one is talking about you, means that there's a problem, means that opportunities are limited. And that is why you need to build relationships. I was one of those people who, if I'm in a meeting, it was very fine for me not to speak up in the meeting. If I'm in an organization, I'm just happy that I'm there, that no one knows so much of what is going on. But I want to tell you that as somebody who aspires to grow, as somebody who is so interested in influencing within the organization, you need to stand up and make sure that your game is being played at another level. Why? Because the world has become so competitive that it's not just about being there. It's not just about being employed or being in an organization. It's about the value that you're creating every day. And it's not just about, let me work hard, my work will speak for itself. You need visibility. And visibility is about being in the face of those people that matter and are going to make the decisions about you. And that is why I encourage you, it's not just about being on LinkedIn, but also seeing how do I help. Sometimes your visibility is going to come from getting out of your normal role, unfolding your sleeves, say, guys, can I help? Sometimes it's in those meetings where they say, we will have this ABC data project coming up, or we would like somebody to volunteer on this basis, and you raise up your hand. I'm like, it's me. And sometimes it's not like you are the best person to actually take on this, but because you want to offer yourself to service. Because when you offer yourself to service, means that you're going to be seen, and your value is also going to show up as somebody who is not just looking at just your role. If I was working with a professional, I want to encourage you that do not just be limited. If in case let's say you're an engineer, or you're an accountant, or you're a marketing person, do not just be limited to just your role. If it's a customer that you can bring into the organization, you don't need to be in the marketing or sales to bring in a new customer. Because when you start to think strategically, because the people that attract a good pay and attract promotions are people who are strategically thinking beyond their current role. They say that you are paid for your fulfillment of your job description, but what is going to promote you is your ability to go beyond your job description. You do not just jump into a role, you grow into a role. You need to be seen to have the capabilities for the next position. And that is why it's quite important for you to see, this is where I want to be. Whenever I usually see job adverts, I usually tell myself, okay, I may not have the right qualities for this role, but I'm always curious to understand what are they looking out for in this person, because one day I'm actually going to get to that level. Then when I now know what exactly they are looking out for, I'm going to get down to now start working on those things. Because I know in 5 years' time or in 3 years' time, I need to be looking for that role. Right now, if let's say you're an accountant who is just starting out like Makande, you may understand that for you to get the next level in terms of your career, you need either an CCA or a CPA, or you need an MBA. You need now to be looking at what is the market asking for. Because when you go to a job platform and you're seeing the different roles and responsibilities and whatever skills that they are looking out for, they should be able to give you a picture of what the market is now interested in. If it's a skill, even if it's a soft skill. I know most of the times we concentrate on what you might call the technical skills, and we forget the soft skills. But this could be important. It could be an aspect to do with presentation. It could be an aspect to do with analytics. It could be an aspect to do with your communication skills or conflict management. There are a lot of things that you will see in a job advert. How do you demonstrate them? Sometimes even when we are presenting our CV, our mindset is just only on the technical things. I have this qualification. I have a CPA. I have a BCom. And we leave out those aspects. It could be a simple certificate that you've gone for. It could be a mentorship that you've been able to be part of that could actually transform you into the person they are looking out for. And again, gets back to where do you want to go? Where are you now? What can you do in between to get to where you can be? And having the mindset that the journey to where you can be is not just around what you see as impossibilities or limitations, but having the perspective that I'm in charge of that person that I want to be, no matter how the journey might be. I usually use a notion of a road, that if you're driving, let's say you want to go to Ginger, definitely there are potholes on the road. Definitely there is jam that you'll find somewhere. You'll find traffic police somewhere. You'll find bad drivers on the road, but that does not limit that you can't get to Ginger. So in terms of your planning, you're also telling yourself that I also need to also plan for those that eventualities that might happen. And if it's in your career here, you look at aspects like my boss may not allow me to go and study, or my boss might limit to where I can be. And here you're now getting down to say, okay, what can I do in such circumstances? And this is your TIF to say that, okay, even if I've not been able to get to where I need to be, I have done ABCD. And you see, sometimes whatever you're doing today is building an invisible structure that is going to get you into something bigger. When the world sees you getting to the next step, they think you just fallen there. But deep down, you've been pursuing your qualifications, you've been improving your skills, you've been doing the networking, and people are seeing you now in another phase, and they can't comprehend how did you get here. That is how the world works. You don't build at a time when you need to get there. It's a continuous journey, and that's why I call it a transformative journey. Transform yourself in a way that you're growing into the opportunities. You're not just looking for the opportunities, but you're growing into the opportunities. And when you get yourself to that step within your career, means that you'll not be limited by where you're working. You'll not be limited by your country. You'll not be limited by your boss or whatever you can, because you've built your career in a way that you can tap into quite a number of opportunities. And I know there are those people, even as we do this reflection, there are people who still say, but still things may not work out. I have a notion And I believe that if you play your part, if you're doing whatever you need to do, somehow even God blesses you in that way. That is how he's able to pick you up, because nothing is going to find you. The world no longer looks or rewards people who are desperate. The world is rewarding people who are going to offer value. Whenever people reach out, because I'm so much into the limelight, when people reach out and say, I'm looking for a job, I studied ABCD, in my mind, I'm like, this person should not be speaking about what they studied. They should be speaking about what they do, what they can do. And every time you're doing that to anyone that you're reaching out to, you're not just speaking about your skills or what you studied, but you also speak about something that is so exceptional about you, because it's that exceptional thing that is going to make somebody remember you, or is going to make somebody comfortable in recommending for the next thing. If I was looking for, I'm an accountant, and usually use the same examples. If I was looking for an accounting role, I don't need to be speaking about my BCom or my CPA. I need to be speaking about what have I done. I've managed a portfolio of over 20 billion shillings in terms of donor grants. I was awarded a best employee in this organization, ABCD. In this, somebody's seeing my capacity, but they're also seeing my value and my competence and what I can actually do. They're like, if this person has been able to manage this portfolio, if this person has been able to lead a team of over 20 people, if this person has been able to be recognized in these places, then this person can do. We live in a world where you need to prove yourself. Like, your next opportunity is going to be based on what you've been able to achieve in the past. And this is also around what you can do within the future. You also coming through from the perspective that it's not just about what you've done in the past, but you also understand the future. And you're the best person who is positioned to take on that opportunity, because you're going to do the best for the future. And this is where you're now getting into to see, what does the future look like? Where is the need? Where is this person's main pain point? And this is where your background, getting down to even do some background to understand this organization. What are they doing? What would they be interested in? Such that your pitch is speaking directly to what this person is interested in. That is what happens. What is this person looking out for? Maybe they are just setting up and they're looking out for somebody who can help them develop that department. Maybe they are now transitioning from a manual system now to a technical system. And you're now trying to come through and say, I've worked with over 10 systems. So it means that this system is something that I can actually do. And this is what we call positioning. Every time you're telling somebody, position yourself, what we are trying to mean here is, do not chase. Just get yourself in the right position. If you get yourself in the right position, in the right place, at the right time, and connect with the right people, means that opportunities are not just going to be things that you chase. Opportunities are going to get you. Somebody is going to be out there, and when they think about a marketer, or when they think about a salesperson, or when they think about an engineer, you come to their mind. And this is not about how many years of experience you have. This is not about in your current field of your career, whatever you're doing, always strive to stand out. This is not, it's no longer optional for you to make sure that your online presence is built. And the online presence is not just for showing yourself out there, but it's a place for you to build relationships. It's not just about being on the online space. You need to get down to physical. You need to get to events. You need to get to meet people. You need to reach out to people. you're not reaching out to people from the disparate point of view, but you're reaching out to people from the point of, I can offer this. I can offer this service. This is what I can do. This is who I am. These are my competences. This is my skills. This is what I've done in the past. This is my strongholds. This is why you need me and not anyone else. If you're not telling your story, if you're not telling people about who you are, you're not blowing your trumpet, no one is going to do that. If you work in an organization, I've worked in organizations where people are happy seeing you doing whatever you're doing every day. And it is up until when you step up and say, guys, I've done enough of ABCD. I've actually gone ahead to even train the person who is working close with me. So meaning that me taking on an extra role will not have an impact in the way you're trying to cover up the fears of the person who should be making a decision about you. And that is how you're able to grow. That's how you're able to position yourself. And you need to be seen as somebody who is improving. If you join that, let's say that organization with just, let's say your bachelor's or diploma, the best way to put people on pressure, the people that have given you employment, is to see you growing. Because when they see you now, you've added a certificate, and make sure that they know about some of these things. Sometimes it's about just going to LinkedIn and share it there, but you know that somebody within the organization is watching. Sometimes it's about sending that email. If it's a qualification you think is very relevant to the organization, it's about notifying them and say, guys, I've earned this qualification and I'm ready to tap into the opportunities that could help me leverage on the skills and knowledge that I've been able to acquire from this qualification. If you need to be a manager, you need to be asking yourself, what do managers do? What is that is needed for me to step into a supervisory role? You need to get off the doing to now seeing, how can I support other people? Because one of the key roles of somebody who is a manager, who is whatever, is somebody who is in the capacity of, who can train others, who can get results through others. How am I showing my leadership skills? Sometimes it's about, you may not be given the opportunity, but it may be about taking on a leadership course or a leadership training, or volunteering as a leader outside the organization, and just making sure that the people who matter know about some of these things. Sometimes it's about, even when you're having conversation, you're like, oh, by the way, out of work, this is what I do. I'm either a chief marketeer for this Rotary Club, or I'm doing ABCD. What kind of leadership are you taking on outside? People will now say, okay, he has not demonstrated internally about their leadership, but based on what they're doing outside, I think they can do that. And somebody will give you the opportunity. It could be volunteering internally and saying, I'm going to lead on this project. And you do not have to have previous experience, because I'll tell you, whenever such opportunities come, everyone lays back. So, do we have anyone with a question? Everyone lays back. But sometimes it's about showing up and say, it's not a question, it's an addition to what has been shared. And what all this is going to require you is, you need to understand what is really needed in this space. And that's why the emotional intelligence is a very important skill in this era and age. Being able to read the room, being able to read the environment, and being able to act accordingly and say, what is the thought pattern for somebody who is looking for an accountant? What is the thought pattern for somebody who is going to promote somebody from a sales officer to a sales supervisor? What is the thought pattern for somebody who is going to say this person can be recommended for this opportunity. So all that is important, because once you now get into the shoes of who is going to decide about you, then you now start to get to a level of where you are positioning yourself for their next decision. That is what happens. So I see Mr. Makande Stephen is back. What I'm trying to share with you today is it's possible, and you can achieve whatever you need to achieve. The people that you're seeing at the top of the mountain did not fall there. They went through the journey. They embraced it. There was a lot of resilience. The same thing with career. You need to have a certain level of resilience. You need to understand where you are. I've worked in various workplaces, and there are things that no longer get to my mind. I tell you things like leaving office late, having to work extra hours. I've come to understand that as long as I'm employed, this is the business. This is how the world works. I need to demonstrate beyond my contract hours for me to be able to attract my next position. That's how the world works. The world works in a way that there are quite limited opportunities, and only those that demonstrate that they stand out are able to attract opportunities. If a position is advertised and you sit very well, everyone you know who is looking for a job maybe has also seen the same opportunity. The question you should be asking yourself is, if 100 people apply for this role, why would somebody pick up my CV and give me this job? If you do not have answers to that, then there's a problem. And that is why I tell you that every day have something extra that you're getting ahead of who you were before. How are you standing out? If you have somebody who has a first class, they have CPA, what else do you have? Is it about your communication skills? Is it about your leadership skills? Is it about a certificate in artificial intelligence that you've just done? Is it about your stakeholder management? Is it about your interpersonal skills? What have you done? Is it about your past performance projects that you've been able, and initiatives you've been able to be involved in? Those are the extra things that are going to make somebody feel like, this person stands out from the rest. Over to you, Stephen.
Wow. Thank you, Coach Samuel. It has actually been so resourceful. There are so many things which you've noted there. You started actually by actually telling us to actually reflect on how actually we've achieved, or on how we've actually went wrong from the previous quarters, the 3 quarters, or the previous months, and then we can actually plan accordingly. Planning is so key, and that's why my colleague Hassan typed somewhere saying that anything you planned is halfway done. So that has been so insightful, and also you've given us some tips, especially young people, specifically here. I know here we have so many people who are just joining their careers. We have different people, graduates, and people who are actually assuming to graduate somewhere around. So visibility is key, especially in on different platforms, LinkedIn and all other platforms, such that actually we can easily show our value to the different employers. In one of the posts by Coach Samuel, there was some saying that any opportunity you see somewhere, or any if you see somewhere positioned in the certain job, there should be some connection or network which helped him or her try to go there. It was in such a phrase. You know, there are so many actually posts which you actually always make, but that one was so much captivating in one of them. So there are so many insights which you've given us, we should always actually add value to ourselves, not only in the technical skills which are required by the jobs, but also in the soft skills. That's why skills such as communication and all sorts there, they are so much actually important. And that's the importance of the Transformational Professionals Club and all other platforms which are aiming at mentorship, especially for the young people. In this case, actually, I urge you to actually reach out if you've not actually joined the club. Indeed, try to rush and join, because there are so many insights which we should actually learn. I think, colleagues, a lot has been shared, and I think it can be your turn to put in your question such that we can actually delve into that. So you can easily type in the chat box such that we can also try actually giving you insights. Do you have any challenge somewhere around, or your reflection concerning this topic somewhere, somehow? So many people have tried actually to appreciate the efforts you're doing there. So in such a case, we really appreciate Coach Samuel. One of the, based on the last words you've actually talked about there, you've actually asked a very good question. What else do you have except maybe your BCom accounting? What else can you do somewhere? People are not going to be looking out for the BCom accounting we've done. Maybe they're not going to be looking at your engineering somewhere. What projects have you actually accomplished? Samuel has told you that has accomplished different projects with Vodafone and different actually companies somewhere. So what have you done apart from your first class, which you have somewhere, somehow? So those are insights which we should actually focus on as we go into the next quarter. Samuel, I'm so much interested in your personal story. You know, we normally discuss with so many people here in this line of accounting and finance. So in this case, I would like you to draw some insight. Your story is a little bit inspiring. From Vodafone, we've seen Save the Children, and now at KPMG. Someone would like to know what is the key decision or turning point that has shaped your growth the most specifically? And what can we as young professionals learn from it? I'm bringing it because we've had so many reflections, so many young people actually admiring your profile when they find it on LinkedIn, because they've tried to actually follow up. Samuel is doing this from specifically, he went to MOOBS somewhere, he did this BCom accounting. So I had some colleagues, specifically, they are from MOOBS, they got my details from LinkedIn and they reached out and then we discussed. And then they are trying to ask how they can position themselves. So I want you to actually bring in some concerns in that line. What is the key decision or turning point that has shaped your growth up to this level, such that it can help someone in the next quarter? It can be a professional or a student outside there. You know, there are so many students interested in actually shaping themselves. Especially, I've been talking to students who are in third year. They are trying to prepare for what is coming ahead. And I've always told them that this starts right now, as we're still in third year, such that you can strategize of where you're going to be after campus. So try to bring in some insights. What decision is that? The most specifically, the word most sounds. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen. What I say has really been most outstanding in terms of my decisions has been one, I understood what I want in terms of my career. So that means that even when I was starting out within my career, I knew what kind of career trajectory I will need to achieve. And in this, if you've read my story, you've read some of my posts, you realize that there are times when I have had to take on jobs, pay cuts. There are times when I've had to let go of certain opportunities because I knew they did not align with the direction I want to get into. But also having this kind of mindset of understanding is, what does the market really require of me? I'll give you an example that where I'm working right now, I knew that for me to join, let's say, an organization like KPMG, I needed to, one, stand out in terms of my professional development, but also I needed to have something extra, because this is a big four environment. This is a top tier firm. So I needed to have something extra. Like again, I mentioned, like if I've worked in the NGO world, because I worked in the NGO world for about 5 years. What is that would make somebody in this other space feel like I need to be part of them? I think that is very important. So I would say that for a young professional who is starting out, one, understand the kind of career that you're going to run with, because there's going to be a lot of distractions along the journey. And not everything that looks gold is actually gold in itself. So being able to appreciate that, but also the value of mentorship, the value of guidance, of being able to ask people that have gone ahead of you, I think for me has been very, very important, because my decisions were made from a point, uninformed position, but also I also had a picture of what I need to be doing in terms of my career. So that is very important for you if you're starting out or you're already on your trajectory. The other is continuous improvement. Making sure that I'm also standing out every time I get to any workplace. And I'll tell you this, I've been recognized as one of the best employees, not only where I'm working with right now, my current employer, but even in my previous employer. Why? Because every time I get into the workplace, my biggest role or my biggest ambition is to understand, what does an A person in this organization do? And what is that thing that is going to make me stand out? Because I know that is what is able to attract my trajectory. So that's one of the things that I encourage you. If you're in an organization, you'd ask yourself, this person who moved from one role to another, who was promoted, what is that they had? And this is from the perspective that somebody was favored, or you need to look beyond. Sometimes it's about even just getting down to LinkedIn and saying, okay, I aspire to get into where, let's say, Samuel is. What are some of those qualifications I've been able to acquire? What are some of the things that have informed their trajectory? So having that emotional intelligence, again, that is able to read what others are not seeing, is quite important. I worked in the NGO world where having a professional qualification or like a CPO, CCA was not really, didn't really matter. What mattered was your competence, what you can do, and making sure that you meet your monthly targets. And that was it. And we did that, and we're promoted. I happen to have gotten a double promotion working that workplace within the 4 years that I was there. But that came because I understood the environment, but I also understood who are the key stakeholders, who are the influencers. I know there's something that is called organization politics, and some people avoid it. Yet you need to get into to understand how you can capitalize on it, because every organization has its own politics. And I would definitely tell you, I've not made it where I am because I'm the best person or the most hardworking person. I'm just a strategic person, somebody who looks at things strategically. So I'll take on projects because I know this is a strategic project that will get me into the visibility that I require. If I'm working with a certain person, I'll make sure that that relationship is one of the best relationships, because I have to build trust in the process. That is what exactly happens with the world. So as you work hard, which I did, I've worked hard, make sure that you're getting yourself into more aspects that put you out there, that people are able to see and know that, oh, this person can do. It's not just about the accounting that they know. They also know some aspects of sales and marketing. They also, they are good at leadership. They're also good at mentorship. You're defining what the world needs to know you for. And again, that is more like take charge of what perception the world, if it's a workplace and you know that if I come late or if I do ABCD, this is, and you do, one of the things I've also, you don't do things because others are doing it that way. You do things because you are you, because that is what helps you stand out. So quite a lot has really played out to where I've been here, but one of the last things that I want to share is resilience. I'll tell you that whatever looks out as a great profile, a great CV has come with a lot of resilience. Being able to know that, okay, I'm working in this place. There's a lot that I'm going through, but it is this environment that is going to build me into what I want to be. I'm working with this person and I'm going through a struggle with them, my working relationship with them, but I need them for my next thing. So that resilience has also helped me. And that's why I can take a decision and say, I'm going to take a pay cut, but I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at the opportunities that are ahead of me. And if I'm in a workplace where I do not see my next self, much likely I'm going to find a strategy that will get me out. I'm like, for the meantime, I'm going to be here, but I need to be building the required skills that are going to get me to the next position, to the next level. And that is how things have been able to play out. That even if I've moved different places, for the last 10 years, I've worked in about four, 5 organizations now. But it's been strategic. And I'll tell you that my friends who stayed in where we started from, you can't compare them with me who has moved across. So sometimes even the movements may look like a problem, but somehow I've been able to capitalize on them. So that is quite important. But also, I've also come to appreciate that you need to build a career. And again, when you get into a workplace, when you get into an environment, ask yourself, what do I need from this place? That is very important. That even if you're not promoted, or even if you're not seeing your boss leaving such that you've moved to the next level, you already have what you've mapped out. And if you've gotten what brought you in that place, find your next place. One of the things that has helped me is not remaining comfortable. When I was in the NGO space, working with one of the international NGOs, I was earning very well. I had retirement benefits. I had quite a lot of packages that were coming with my role. But because psychologically, I knew I had gotten all I could within that organization, I looked for the next environment. And many people asked me, how could you move from such a comfortable place to a more challenging space like an audit firm? I told them, it's because of the journey that I'm looking at. It's because of what 10 years looks for me, what 20 years looks for me. If I remain in this space, I have no future. So I'm better off going to suffer for what people call it a suffering environment. But even when I'm in there, my resilience and vision of where I need to be keeps me afloat. I'm able to put in the extra hours. When I moved to NGO, when I was in NGO, I was a leader who was overseeing quite a number of staff. I was heading a department. When I moved into the space where I am, the professional services firm, I had to start from down. I had to do the donkey work again. But I knew that if I had come from a leadership and started from a leadership, there's no way I would understand how the ground looks like. I needed to get down to understand the system such that I grow through the system, such that by the time I get to the next level, I'm actually have mastered my game. Because the worst case, the worst point of view that you can be within your, let's say, your career or even life is like becoming president, and you do not have what it takes to run the country. So as you aspire to get to whatever position you want to aspire, grow into that position, understand what is required, because you're not going to become a manager or a leader if you do not have what it takes. The position will be given to you, but you'll be frustrated at the end of the day, and you'll not perform to attract the next position. So the patience and resilience have played out very well for me. Yeah, over to you, Stephen.
Thank you so much. Indeed, you've answered so many questions of different people here on this platform. And indeed, from your journey, what has stood out is resilience, specifically in whatever we do. Strategic, actually, I've learned that you are a strategic person in whatever you're doing. You're so strategic. And indeed, you are such a person who doesn't move out of the track. You are always in that line. So mentorship is key, basing on what you've mentioned. You've always learned from different people. So I'm trying to answer different people here on this platform some of the questions here, because they've been always asking Achkolatia in that line. Yeah? So that's actually the way forward. Indeed, this is an inspiring session, and it is indeed captivating. We are having different questions and different insights in the chat box. Thank you, each and everyone who's trying to actually share your reflections. Philip is saying this is very insightful. I'm seeing Eliab Nwagaba. Thank you, Coach, for sharing. And then there is a question from Cyrus here, one of our members. What are some of the common mistakes that most professionals have made when planning their next career move? And how can they avoid them? That's from Cyrus, and I think, Coach, you can answer Cyrus in that line.
Okay. To Cyrus's question, what are some of the common mistakes that professionals have made when planning their career move, and how do you avoid them? I think one is looking at things from a short-term basis. So your career move is to find what, let's say, can pay you an extra 100,000, which is not bad, because I know that sometimes you're in a position where that is what is available. But being able to remain focused and not forget about the bigger picture, I think for me is quite important. So when you get into any place, knowing that, okay, whatever I'm doing, this is just a path. It's not a final decision. It's not a final destination for me. I think that plays out very well, because at the end of the day, your next career move is not just an end in itself. It has to be, you need to look at it strategically. For example, if you're an accountant and now you're moving into an administrative role, you need to be asking yourself, how far can I go within this administrative role? And what am I looking at? What do I want to achieve at the end of my 10 years? Of how does my journey look like? So professionals who are not looking at long term, there's an issue. The other is also not looking at the external factors that could influence your career move. Now, I'll give you an example. I moved from NGO and moved into back to professional services firm. And I've also moved from private sector to NGO. Now, for me to make those moves, I've been a bit strategic to look at the future. As some of you know that, and some of you are in the end, have been in NGO space, you've heard a lot of what has happened in the NGO space. When I was in the NGO space, one of the things that I envision is, I asked myself, 10 years from now, do I want to be in the NGO? Do I want to be known as an NGO person? Or there's more that I can actually do? Then I realized that, oh, I can actually become a consultant who is not just limited to NGO. And what that required me is I needed to get out of NGO and go back to an environment that could help me serve vast clients. So the same thing for a professional who is making a career move, either you move to the next organization, you should not just be blinded by what they are giving you in that offer. Get down deep to understand, what does the future look like? I usually tell people that one time I had to let go of an opportunity that was giving me more than 50% extra on my salary. I think that time I was earning about, should have been earning about 5 million, and the role was giving me about 8.5, I think, next to 9 million. But I let go of that opportunity and remained to earn the 5.2 that I was earning at that time. Why? Because I knew that whatever I'm going for, the other one looked to be a good opportunity, but it was just in the money. But 10 years from that time that I was going to make that decision, when I looked at the future of my career, the industry I was getting into and all that, I did not see a future in it. And remember, your next opportunity is going to come from the competencies that you've been able to develop within a given industry, within a given market. So I had to make the hard decision when everyone was saying, Samuel, why are you not taking the position? Why are you even overthinking about it? My mind was thinking broadly. What can I get out of this environment? So it was not about the money. There's another opportunity that I got. It was a finance and admin manager into another industry. And then I looked at this. I looked at what I was going to do. Although it was looking at like a manager role, but this was like, I was going to be like an officer, like a beginning person. So I saw myself that I do not have a bigger team that I was going to oversee, and the job was going to drain me. And I was like, okay, even if this role looks like this company is willing to give me the money, but this is not for me. So sometimes it's sitting back and saying, okay, where do I need to go? The other mistake that some professionals make is they only make the move, they only start the move at that time when they need to move. And what I'm saying here is have a long-term picture. If you're going to move from that organization, you don't need to start when you feel that, okay, I'm now tired. Sometimes it's like knowing that, okay, where I am, I think it's time for me to move. You now start positioning yourself because your next opportunity may actually come in a year. It may even come within 2 years, but you've been looking out for opportunities. The other thing is also not limiting because the world of opportunities is more like, it's a lake in itself. You don't limit yourself on just on the shores. Sometimes you need to get onto the boat and get into the other spaces of the lake, of the ocean or the sea for you to be able to get into some of those harvests that you can make from there. So you need to look at a long-term picture. And even as you're making the move, make sure that it's not affecting your productivity. Because sometimes as you're trying to create a move outside, the move may actually show up inside. So that is one of the other things that I would say, that do not just get yourself in terms of psychologically and feel like I need to be in the next position. And if you're not getting there, it frustrates you. I want you to be in a position where even if the opportunity does not show up, you're not it's not limiting your motivation of your growth in terms of your skills, in terms of your experience, whatever you're doing. So all that plays out. So I hope that I've been able to answer that question.
Thank you so much, actually, for reflecting on that. I think Cyrus is now contented with what you've tried to share, and also all other people who are interested in that part. I'm seeing another one here from Vanessa Kemigisha. How do you live more intentionally, as most people work for money mostly rather than impactness? I think here, according to your story, you've tried actually to reflect on it a little bit when actually in the other story where you say that you are trying to be strategic in your journey. I'm trying to bring this based on your story you shared at first there. But however, you can easily add on this, because actually most people look at money rather than creating impact. But based on your journey there, we've seen you actually moving from organizations where you've been paid a lot, and then you look for some organization where you can actually impact and also grow your space. I think based on those reflections, you can actually draw some insight and answer Vanessa's question.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
please.
you so much for that question. Thank you, Vanessa. What I can just add on that is the reason why some people, it's hard for them to make decisions like decisions I've made is because they are not managing a certain aspect within their life. I'll tell you that reason why I'm able to make such decisions is because even the little that I earn, I'm able to manage it rightly. But I'm also focused on having a vision gives me the direction on what I need to be doing at a given time. Because the reason why sometimes we struggle with intentionality is because of the people that are around us. We want our life to reflect what our friends are doing. So intentionality is one, mapping down to what you want to be. This could be even getting accountability partners. Sometimes as individuals, we struggle in terms of making sure that we are still in line of what we've set out to do. So sometimes it's about getting down to having a coach, having a mentor, somebody who you think can support you and hold you accountable, but also looking at your life holistically. You've spoken about something very key, which is impact. Looking at your life holistically from the perspective of what you want to achieve out of life. Because yes, it's good to earn the money, but what next at the end of the day? So for me, what has played out mostly is having make sure that whatever I earn, I manage it well, such that if I need to make decisions, it's much easier for me. One of the things that you also realize, especially around my career, is despite me doing quite a lot in the workplace, growing into my career, becoming a leader, whatever I've done a lot around impact. And I'll tell you that if you ask me right now, what I'm proud about my 10 years journey, I'll hardly tell you about the positions that I've been able to grow to. The journey that I've been able to move, I'm proud of the transformation that I've been able to achieve through other people. When I see somebody like Makande giving his testimony of the journey he's been able to move through, when I see Cyrus, or I see Rosette, or I see Esther, when I see all these people that have been my mentees, when somebody gets to me and says, Samuel, I've followed you for quite a long period of time, and your resources, I've whether watched your YouTube channel. There was a time I joined an organization. I went to one of the banks, was trying to do some audit work there. And one of the managers walked to me and said, Samuel, I saw your post sometime back in 2022. And when I read it, that post influenced my decision to move from this bank to where I am. And I think it was the best decision for me ever in my career. That alone gives me that sense of fulfillment. So as you aspire to look for money, ask yourself, can I drive impact within my current role? Or can I actually even do something outside my role to create the necessary impact? So that's what I can really do. So it's about you as an individual.
Thank you for that. I think, Vanessa, you're contented with that, and you've actually learned from that response. I'm seeing Alex Saka here. He's saying, Coach Samuel, what should be our action plan in this last quarter of 2025? He's saying, as we review the last 9 months of 2025, how do we boost our networking? So he's trying to bring in that. What should be the action plan for this last quarter, as we try to review from the previous 8 or 9 months, and then how can we boost the networking?
Okay, thanks. As we conclude, one of the things that I want to tell you, one of the takeaways that I want you to go with in terms of action points is I want you to schedule a review and a reflection for yourself. And this you can do it individually. You can do this with your mentor or your coach. But just get down to look into your journey, into your career. What have you been able to achieve? What have you not been able to achieve? And what can you achieve within the next 3 months? And what can you set pace for the next? This is a personal journey. Mine could be enrolling for a given qualification. Yours could be, say, I'm going to focus on delivering quality in my workplace, or I'm going to focus on my job search journey. So it's personal, and it all comes from your review and reflection. So schedule a reflection or a review. As part of the Transformation Professionals Club, we do this kind of one-on-one sessions, which you can reach out and book one. Of course, it comes at a small cost, but having that conversation with yourself or with the support of a mentor, of a coach, is going to do a lot. And then from that conversation, I want you to write down what you want to achieve, like you've mentioned, within the next 3 months, and what is possible for you. That comes again down from your journey. And if you're working with a coach will be able to reflect with you on what is possible and what can be achieved. And then the coach also holds you accountable. And that's what part of the work that I do as a coach. Now, the other thing that I also want you to do is, I want you now to look at your visibility, because even as whatever you're going to think about in terms of what you need to do, visibility is going to be very key. So if you're searching for a job, you're getting down to your CV, to seeing, how do I put this CV in a format, or either it's an ATS format, or how do I improve this CV such that it is positioning me? That's for those that are looking for jobs. If you're employed and your aspiration is to be promoted or have conversations, you need to be sitting down to reflect, what have you been able to accomplish on your job? What are those achievements, notable achievements? Because even if you're going to search for a new job, these are things that you need to be talking about within your the interview. Not just speaking about, I have these qualifications, but this is what I've been able to achieve. I was able to transform this organization. They did not have a bank reconciliation system in place. I did ABCD. They didn't have an asset management system in place. I was able to set up one. All those are key in terms of looking at. And like I said, gratitude. You're not just looking at where you have failed, but you're also looking at what you've been able to achieve. Your LinkedIn, your visibility, getting down to say, what are other people doing that I can actually also do? Those are action points. The other is trying to see, what are some of those relationships that I need to build within the next 3 months? And that could be either you're going to look out for these relationships online, or you're going to get into places and say, what are some of those trainings, webinars that are around that I can actually attend and make sure that I'm contributing, I'm being seen, I'm reaching out. Sometimes it's about saying, okay, this person has a program coming up. Can I reach out to them? Quite important. And then you're also looking at what are some of those skills that are out there that I can actually develop. We've seen AI on the rise. Can I even just go to YouTube and just learn something about AI? That's an action point for you. And then get down to now constructively within these 6 months, again, find another time, maybe around November or even late October. Sit down and say, what does 2026 look for me as within my career? Write down 2 or 3 goals that you want to achieve. It could be a new role that you want to get into. It could be higher salary that you want to attract, or it could be a leadership position that you want to tap into, or volunteering. And then also break it down in terms of quarterly, by March, by June, by September, by December. This is what I want to achieve. So all that. And again, this comes down to your action points are going to be personal. It's you who knows what you can achieve. You're not just going to do because everyone is running for something that you're also going to go for the same. So that's what I can really say about that. And how you're building networks is putting out your visibility. One of the key things that I do is I do not chase, I attract. So make yourself of value such that people feel like, okay, I need to connect with this person. This guy, Alex, is somebody I think if I have an opportunity, I need to recommend them. Visibility is very key. So get down there, create content, show up your face, let people see what you can do. Today we're having this webinar and I'm here to show my face and to be able to speak through. This is building my competence and is building my networks. And that is how the world works. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Coach. Indeed, so many points have actually been highlighted and they have stood out. One of the most actually, which I can rank as the most vibrant one, is actually visibility. Visibility is key, especially if actually you want to go extra mile. Visibility also translates into networking in its own way. So I think all other comments here are trying to thank Coach Samuel here. I'm seeing Jolly here. Jolly is saying, thank you, Coach, for the guidance. I have people I give financial advice, even for upgrading to CPA or MBA. I hope to be greater in the next 3 years. Amen. We shall pray for you and actually thank you for that act. Cyrus is still thanking you here. We have Philip here. Sincere, this is the way some of us have in our dreams and always hope for it with a very positive mindset. All these ones are they are trying to thank and give, actually they're appreciating for your efforts of trying to actually give us good insights. Hassan Semaganda is supplementing that all I can supplement about Coach Samuel's speech about journey focus is that direction is far better than speed. We need to identify between fame and significance. That's so much outstanding. Semaganda, thank you. There is some big comment here by Silas still, is that he's still trying to thank Coach Samuel for generously sharing the wisdom and the practical insights on the career growth. The session has been an eye-opening one and has given us the clarity and strategies we need to finish 2025 strong and position ourselves for 2026. We truly appreciate the time and passion you poured into the conversation. Thank you for also tuning in, and all other people are trying to thank you here. Thank you, everyone, indeed, who has joined in here. So many points have been noted from the start up to the end. You try to actually see your vision from the first insights of Coach Samuel. I still remind you, one of the key things which we noted here is that remain visionary and focused on what you want to achieve. So remain in the driving seat, and your background actually shouldn't be part of what you want to achieve in the future. So just remain in the driving seat of your journey. Networking is key. Visibility, specifically, always let's be strategic as we are trying to finish up this journey through this quarter. And also resilience is one of the most important aspects which have been highlighted here. We thank the principal members who have actually tried to join in and for supporting this effort, such that the Transformation Professionals Club tries to stand out in all aspects. And all the people who are on this platform, indeed, you've done a great job here. I'm seeing my brother Lwamasaka Prosper is also an auditor associate at KPMG. Thank you for tuning in, and all other people here, the principal members, for supporting the club. I think, Coach, at this moment, I would like you to give your conclusive remarks and actually what you would want us actually to focus on as actually we finish up and as we focus on the last quarter of the year as we move to 2026. You give us that last word, because I know we shall meet actually at the end of this quarter, probably in maybe in December, and we actually try to assess where are we, how have we moved based on the conversation we had on this day. Because we've based on this call here, we've tried now to understand what to do, from things such as planning, being strategic, networking, visibility. So by the end of these 3 months, that's October, November, and December, we shall try to assess the success and how we've tried to actually strategize ourselves to actually try to catch up 26 in a very good vibe, because we have so many goals as professionals, as young people, as people in the employment world. So each and everyone is aspiring to actually achieve something. So, Coach, try to summarize each and every aspect. Thank you. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thanks so much, everyone who has come through for this session. If there's one thing that I want to leave you with today is it's not going to be easy, but the fact that it's not easy is actually what makes you stand out, because only few people are able to become resilient and also go for that not everyone is going for. So no matter what your journey has been for the past 9 months, have the positive mindset that you can do quite a lot within the 3 months, and do not be overwhelmed by what you can do within the 3 months, but have the understanding that sometimes it's actually just a time for planting, not a time for harvest. So with that mindset, see what skills you need to be able to acquire within the next 3 months, or even start on for the next year. See what relationships you need to build right now. See how to improve your visibility, especially in the workplace. If you're employed and you have a job, see what can get you into to be seen as somebody who is of more value. Improve your work. Sometimes it's about getting to that feedback that you've received from your supervisor and saying, let me just improve, such that they can be able to see the journey that I've been able to move. So, and then for those that are searching for jobs, have a different way you're approaching this game. Do not just do the same thing that you've been doing previously that has not been working out. Sometimes it's about saying, okay, I've tried a lot with this CV and it has not helped me. Are there any problems? Can I call for a CV review? Can I reach out to somebody? We usually do CV reviews. One of the things that I do. Can I have somebody look at my CV? Can I somebody look at my LinkedIn? Someone has spoken a lot about LinkedIn, but how about he just looks at my LinkedIn and tells me what's not right? sometimes we all need is another external person to just help us on the journey. It could be a coaching session. You're like, I need to reach out to someone and have a coaching session with them, such that we can be able to just think through my journey and think through my current challenge and get strategies around how I can actually move to the next place. So sometimes the solutions are not just going to be about you. Sometimes you need to seek them out. But also, in everything, remain positive and remain with your strong faith. I know quite a lot of you people have your strong faith in God. Remain positive. That God is actually going to help you in this journey. As you do whatever you do, trust Him and believe Him. And I believe that all will work out for His goodness. One of the things that I want to also just share with you as we conclude, the Transformation Professionals Club has quite a number of programs that we've done. We just concluded the Career Growth Masterclass, which attracted quite a number of people. One of the last programs that we are doing this year is we have come up with a public speaking and communication skills mentorship program, which would like to share with you. We are partnering with an entity called Signature Speakers. We've hosted one of the lead facilitators of that organization in one of our TPC sessions. He's called Mr. David Asanga. He'll be taking us through this journey, which is a 5 weeks journey, which is also going to include online and physical sessions. And what I mean by online and physical sessions is we're going to have sessions where we are going through different aspects around public speaking. But also we're going to have physical sessions where you're able to come through and meet and see how you are improving your skills. You're basically going to get on the stage or before boardroom or whatever it is, from a practical point of view, such that you're able to get real-time feedback around your communication skills. So this is one of our programs to help you grow as an individual, because we've realized from our past sessions, even public speaking sessions that we've held, people have always reached out to ask for more. We want to have a more structured program where you have this feedback from video online sessions like this, because one of the things that if you're part of this program, you have an opportunity maybe to be featured in one of the webinars, whether you come as a moderator or you come through as a speaker, such that you're able to build your confidence at the end of the day. So this is a program that is running. As you can see, we hope to start 5th November. Now, 5th November is not very far, is about a month and some days from now. And you can see this has been discounted down. If you've seen some of the public speaking trainings that are out there, they are quite at higher fees. So for members who are TPC principal members, this is at 300,000 only, and for non-members, this is at 450. But in case you pay by 10th October, this goes for 450. This is an amount of money. You can say maybe at the end of this month, I'll pay something, and then I'll pay something at that time as well. But this is an opportunity for you to invest in yourself. And these fees are for the facilitator who is running. Let me just try to share his poster. I think you've seen him in one of the videos that we've held. Let me just try to show that. So this is Mr. David Asanga, who is our lead facilitator. I'll be doing this mentorship alongside him as our lead facilitator and lead mentor. And you can see our theme is to help you elevate your voice, speak with confidence, and grow with influence. We understand that public speaking is a very key skill for you if you want to be able to grow. Being able to, no matter how good you are, if you can't express yourself and if you can't present your ideas in a confident way, that is limiting you into opportunities that could change your trajectory, change your career. So invest in yourself today and see how this can impact your next self. So this is something that we just wanted to share with you. But all the same, I just want to appreciate everyone who has come through to this session. And I just want to appreciate you, Mr. Makande, for the great moderation. And we hope to have you more in terms of moderation. And we believe that you're doing a great job out there. Thank you. And over to you.
Thank you so much, Coach. Indeed, it's been a wonderful session for us here. And I would just want to thank each and everyone who has just joined in, such that we can make this a success. And so many points have stood out. For those people trying to look for jobs, indeed, visibility is very key in each and everything. Try to change some formulas. If you've been maybe rejected somewhere, somehow, try to change the style of applying. It can be maybe the CV. Reach out to a mentor. If not, maybe if you don't have a mentor, reach out to a mentor. If you don't have one, just join the Transformational Professionals Club. Everything will be sorted. And everyone who's trying maybe to join another journey, who's in a certain job, try to be strategic and try to understand where you want to be somewhere in the future. What do you need from such a place? Yeah, so many people are trying to join in in different organizations. Yes, to me and my brother Prosper Ramasaka there, we are trying to join in into another journey. So such a question actually should always reflect in our minds. Where do you want to be in such places where we are trying to actually join? So it has been such an insightful session. And indeed, these sessions will be coming in as usual. And also, let's actually try to join in for the public speaking and communication skills program, such that we can also boost ourselves. Communication is so key wherever we go. Indeed, as young people, we need this. Thank you so much for each and every one. I would like to bring this to a stop. May God bless you.